Hello, everybody. Here we are. We MNF, where the masses meet the nerds and the freaks, for another episode. So we thought it would be a good idea to remember why the channel has this name, because we explained this in the beginning, in some videos, but there is a long time we don't tell anything about it. So when we talk about the masses, the nerds, and the freaks, we are talking about different sides of what we understand as our multifaceted personality with regard to music. So we like pop music, we like very nerdy music, and we like freak music, and we think many musics combine these properties. So that's why we call the channel where the masses meet the nerds and the freaks. And we also thought this would be good to explain in the beginning of some video how we are organizing each video. So we always begin with some general commentaries on the artist, on the track. Sometimes we digress into some philosophical chit chat.
We always
Uh,
digress.
Always not always, but I think quite often. Then we play the music and then we make our reactions, commentaries, sometimes during the music when it's reasonable to stop it, and always after. So that's more or less the structure of the videos. And some every we take turns in who hosts and brings some songs, and we try to keep it as a secret for the other. Sometimes this doesn't happen, but it usually happens. As we listen to music together a lot, not always is something the other doesn't know. Sometimes it is. And today it is the first case. It is something that Chico knows because we are going back to Gentle Giant. So we began with Gentle Giant, the channel. Our first video was Funny Ways from Gentle Giant. 17th video. It's time to come back to Gentle Giant, which is my favorite band since I was a teenager. Today, I would say they dispute space with other bands that I like a lot, but they are always on the top two. Let's say like that. And as I'm a bit obsessive, I will go to the second album by Gentle Giant. We opened the channel with the track from the first album, Funny Ways, from Gentle Giant, 1970. So today we are going to Acquiring the Taste, the second album by Gentle Giant, 1971. It's one of my favorites. It's a very risky album. It's an album that the band takes a turn into even less commercial music than they began with the first album. So they write in the back of the cover that the way they are making music that is so complex that is likely not to be sellable commercial at all. So they were saying, well, this might be really unsuccessful, but that's what we want to do. But it's a great album. It's a great album. And people who are fan of Gentle Giant, and Gentle Giant acquired a cult following in the last like 20 years. So they finished in 1980, last album, Civilian, and was basically forgotten for a while. But for the last 20 years, more and more people are liking Gentle Giant, following Gentle Giant. And Acquiring the Taste is a very fond album for the fans of the band. The band at that point is a six-member band. After Octopus will become a five-member band because Phil Schumann, one of the Schumann brothers in the band, will leave the band to get back to his history teaching. He is a history teacher. And so the band at this point is Phil Schumann on the saxophones and vocals, Ray Schumann on the trumpet, bass, violin, and vocals, Derek Schumann on the vocals and saxophones, Gary Green on the guitar, and Kerry Minor on all the keyboards, cello, and vocals. And the drummer at Acquiring the Taste is Malcolm Mortimore. So he's not the drummer from the first album. Oh, it is Malcolm Mortimore. Yeah, it is Malcolm Baltimore. I'm almost certain. Is Martin Smith or Malcolm Baltimore? One of the two. I may be confusing things here. But I'll check while we are playing the song and come back to you with the entirely correct information about that. And all the members in the band play percussion and they usually play recorder too. So let's go for the first track. I'll bring two tracks, but one is a very small track. It's a very quick track that gives the title to the album, Acquiring the Taste. But I'll play before that one very rocky and great song by Gentle Giant called The House, the Street, the Room. So let's go for it. Let me arrange everything here so that we have the best experience. Let me share, put us back here. We use Zoom and we need to adjust a number of things for things to work properly. So let me hide this thing here, put us back in point, and let's go. I don't know if she could remember this, but let's go. Now is a good point to stop. Uh, to say something that I like very much. You know how the Ray Schumann is playing the bass, and he goes more. Uh, the volume is lower, so the dynamics is great. Yeah, he gets the lower sound in the bass in this passage, and the beginning is very rocky. I like this beginning, but I stop exactly when they move in a very experimental part of the track that reminds a bit of what King Crimson does in experimental parts in King Crimson. And Derek Schumann is the lead singer and showing what great voice he has. And there's a very haunting music. I will tell something about the lyrics afterwards. And this video, as Gentle Giant acquired more of this cult following, they have an official YouTube site that's very active. And in fact, one of the sons of Phil Schumann, who is also a musician, runs the channel. And they are putting a lot of animations in the channel. So this is a new animation that they put to this song. It's not something that was done back in the time. It's a more recent thing, but all these animations are quite great. And one more thing, I confirmed the drummers, Martin Smith. I have some confusion usually in my mind with the drummers for the first three Gentle Giant albums, because in the fourth, we get John Weathers, who will be the drummer from the rest of the career. But in the first two albums, Martin Smith, the drummer, and Malcolm Mortimer is only the third album, and then he simply plays in this album. So who's playing the drums here is Martin Smith. Did you know this song, Chico?
I don't remember. I think not.
Okay, so it's a
And
kind of a reaction for you.
yes, totally. Not totally because I already know Gentle Giant. So something is not kind of surprise as
Yeah,
it
yeah.
could be in the first time. But it's still a surprise because there are many strange choice to in the sequence of the intervals. So I think this is why you think is kind of a haunting song
Mm.
because it's strange. So the strange is haunting. So you know it's a unfamiliar feeling. So something that you know that is there, but you don't know exactly what. So
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah. Well, I think that's part of the reason why I have this feeling. So, unusual chord choices, unexpected changes, but it's more than that. I think the atmosphere of the track is haunting, and the lyrics, which I'll go back
and
later
the
to.
harmony and the melody too.
Yeah,
The sequence of the harmony is strange. It's not so predictable.
yeah. And this is a mood that Gentle Giant likes a lot. So in the
Yeah.
first album, they have Alucard, with Dracula, and the on the contrary, and it is a very haunting song too. So in several of their albums, they use this kind of very atmospheric, haunting. Yeah, could be even used in a movie. So it's really great. Let's go back to the music. So now that we'll pass from this initial part, I'll come back a bit so that we get the mood, and they'll go into the more experimental part. And that's a remixed version by Steven Wilson and Dan Melius made. The animation is fantastic. For me, it's a reaction for the animation because I'd never seen this before with this animation. And I don't need to explain the lyrics because the animation is so great that it convey exactly the feeling of the music. It's about a very bad dream. And you know that in the dream he dies and in the place he said, well, how it is in the lyrics because they say in the beginning of the lyrics they say they tell about the dreams and then they say there is all these ghosts and all these things but then that point where they he goes down a black hole is where they are saying I find escape in the street in the house in the room. That's when they start moving in the comic in the animation and then say I become somebody, but when he becomes somebody he become a ghost. As he goes down that he becomes a ghost but then comes back he's sitting in the room very afraid and then they have this the camera goes out of the house and you will see well it's a nightmare, it's a bad dream. Yeah, so the animation is perfect
Yeah, it
without
was
without being literal because they could be very literal like the lyrics doesn't say anything about ghosts, so that was an interpretation of the animator. So it's not that it is literal, but it captured the feeling of the lyrics quite well.
an unhappy little ghost in the video.
Yeah, yeah.
Some
Among
I think is something um, I think it's related to something uncanny in the spirit of the character.
yeah,
Something
yeah,
I think you said right. Something is haunting
yeah,
his
yeah,
life
yeah,
or his
yeah, yeah, yeah.
afterlife.
Or his afterlife. Yeah, and I should tell about the guitar player Gary Green.
Yeah,
People
yes,
usually
the second part is very rock and roll.
It's very rock and roll. And great, I like this guitar solo with a lot of wah-wah, very rock and very much. And it's like a signature of Gary Green to do this kind of solos. And he is very important in the dynamics of the band because he brings the rocky, edgy side to the band because he's a very rocky player, bluesy player. And I really like his
Yes,
solos. He doesn't solo very much because Gentle Giant is not a band about soloing. They're about constructing the song as a band. So when they make a solo, it has a point in the
yes,
composition in relation to the lyrics. I think the animation was quite good also in capturing the experimental parts when the ghosts appear. I don't know if the right word, but it looks like it is like a fugue, yeah. They repeat the same notes instrument per instrument. I don't know if the name of this is a fugue, but I don't
no,
know.
no. So,
But they repeat the same notes instrument by instrument and they show the ghosts coming and then when the guitar player begins the solo is the haunt
little,
is heavily there, so I think it's very well interpreted in the animation.
I don't know if I remember right, but I think there is a bear too, crazy bear,
There is what?
a little bear.
A little bear. Ah, yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Like a teddy bear. Very haunting teddy
Yes, like
bear.
a teddy
Yeah,
bear.
yeah, yeah. Like a
Exactly,
teddy
a
bear.
teddy bear.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
And teddy
uh,
bears can be haunting. Yeah, yeah,
and uh, the solo capture the vibe of the moments of the song. The song
yeah, yeah,
it's like a disturbing something rapping, and
yeah,
the solo is kind of disturbing
yeah,
in a good
yeah,
way. In
yeah.
a good way,
Yeah.
I
In a
think.
good way, in a good way. That's why I think he used all the effects, the wah-wah. As I said, it's not soloing by soloing. It has a meaning inside the structure of the song and what they are trying to say with the lyrics. So sometimes people think Gentle Giant is too brainy, too cerebral, and they complain about it. But I don't. I think it's very thoughtful music. It's all very well thought and it's soulful. So it's not arid. I would say was brainy music is all you want to show that you are very smart. But it's kind of arid, doesn't say much. But I think they simply put all the resources in composition, in playing to tell a story, and they tell the story quite well. So I don't think it is brainy. I think it's really witty, smart, thoughtful composition.
I think this is a great question about music or art in general, because I think that there is no separation and like and a soul and an intuitive sense of the artist and mind. I think it both
Oh,
have
yeah.
to work together. And if I think the last song that we played was "Time," the Alan
Yeah.
Parsons Project. It's a
Yeah.
simple song, but very soulful song, but very well uh, thought
Hot off. Yeah.
thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I entirely agree. I entirely agree. But I have one thing more to say. If it is soulful, but not as thoughtful, I like more than it is too thoughtful and without any soul.
Yeah, but this is
That's why I
the
said
kind
arid. I
of
think arid song is like that. You know, these people know a lot of composition. They play fantastic well, but they say absolutely nothing. So there are this bothers me more than some lousy player. They're not so good, but they are full of soul.
but this is just a rational song. No,
Well, the brainy one that doesn't have soul. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's
but
why I call this more showing off how able I am, how is. But you should tell something. It's art. If you don't tell anything with art, so why on hell doing it? Yeah, that's what I think. We can take some punk bands that quite often are not very good players, but sometimes it's great because they are very soulful.
but at some point we'll miss some
Yeah, it's
uh
true. It's true.
some notes, some
It's true. It's
complexity
true. It's
because
true.
it's too much.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree. And one thing that I like to tell, I think we should tell something in the instrumentation I like very much. Well, I like Derek Schumann's voice quite well. Now it's quite, as usual, great, great voice. But usually I like the bass by Ray Schumann a lot, and he's playing fantastically well.
Yeah, in the first video, I pay homage to his bass a lot because I love it. I think he's a special bassist because he play with one kind of bass that we the precision bass. The first model of electric bass, larger in produced in larger scale. So he also that is it's a simple bass. The one pickup, just a volume, just a tone. But he played all the albums in Gentle Giant. He
Yeah, he
played
always played this bass,
just
always.
this bass, and he do it great, 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 great. Many different sounds, uh, uh, warm sounds, harsh sounds with the bass in the
Yeah,
front.
yeah, yeah.
It's he is great. He, there is to the baselines, right. It's it's perfect example of the thoughtful and the
Yeah,
soulful. He
exactly.
is so complex. just put the bass in the right place with the drummer.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
the
yeah.
drum and drums in Gentle Giants is so complex. Just that
It's something. Yeah,
is something.
yeah, yeah.
And but uh, add to that, he puts some melodies, great melodies, and lines that
Yeah.
is
The
touch
drums,
me.
the drums are hard because the time signatures are complicated and change throughout the songs. And John Weathers, who was the drummer for most of the Gentle Giant career, there was a point that they joined together to make music again, three of them. There was Kerry Miner, Gary Green, and John Weathers, and they called themselves the Free Friends. And then John Weathers said, oh, when they invited him, said, well, I'll need to play all these odd time signatures that Gary Miner brings to the songs again. Come on. And he was playing a blues band called Man. So, oh, come on. I'll go back to that. Eventually he went back. But he said, it's so hard. It's so hard because the time signatures
Really
are not
is.
obvious. It's hard for the drummer. And
I
you
can
said something
understand.
fantastically, the connection between the drum and the bass. Yeah,
Theoretically speaking, I can understand Gentle Giants. It's too much to me.
it's too
But I
much.
can what I know and what I feel, I can say that is very complex.
Yeah, yeah. Even though it's nice because we talked about this some other day in one of the episodes. It's great when the thing is complex, but doesn't become obtrusive that people don't get it. So this song is not so hard to get it. It's very
This
complex,
one
but
this one no that we just heard no. But even that there is already surprisingly choice in the
yeah, yeah, yeah,
melody.
yeah. But that's what I'm saying. They're doing surprising choice. The chords as progressions, not the obvious ones, but it still gets into a very. It's not. It's easy listening. The only part that's hard listening for people who are not accustomed to is the more experimental part, where the ghosts appear. But the rest of the song is very easy listening. So
Yes, yeah, this
that that's a very intelligent thing. They'll get a very complex composition, and to the listener it goes straight forward for most of the track.
in the end, in the last album, I if I you can say if it's correct, they return to that to making an album more simple. Not
Oh yeah, yeah, they did that. They did that as for after Interview. They went to the final albums, Missing Pieces, Giant for a Day, and Civilian, where they were trying to give an answer to the punk movement, and was really hard to do progressive rock at that point. And they also are facing a problem that's quite peculiar because they are with Gentle Giant, and they will have Genesis. And back in those days were completely different from now. The to stream things, you go to the store and you go to the vinyls, and it's by alphabetic order. So they had a problem. The Genesis was quite successful in moving into pop,
in
and
the
they were trying
80s,
to
in the
do
80s, in the
no,
80s.
but that was before. That was the end of 70s when they were doing Duke, Abacab, Genesis were doing, and they were so successful because they had Phil Collins as a great
Yes,
pop composer, and Gentle Giant was trying, but Gentle Giant was not so successful in becoming
was
pop.
not pop because Phil Collins brings this to Genesis
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Gentle
drum.
Giants doesn't have a Phil Collins, someone who is so acquainted with the pop language. And so they had to fight Genesis. They were fighting punk, they were fighting Genesis, and these final three albums, which I like them, but they really got into simpler. You have some tracks they do the quirky things they did in the beginning, but they were trying to be simpler.
And the trick is the pop gene is not simple.
No, no, no,
Genesis,
not at all. Not at all. Not at
there is
all.
many things is happening there.
But that's something interesting about pop. It goes as very straightforward, but very well done pop. It's quite complex. It's not easy. It's not easy.
No, no, no,
Easy is to get a
no.
formula. Someone makes a formula and you copy and copy and copy over again. But what Phil Collins was doing was very original and so
I
was great. Mm.
require a special talent to
Yeah,
know well music as all these musicians in the
yeah,
genres knows, but and between that can put a pop feeling.
yeah, yeah.
It's a
That
special
that
talent.
yeah,
It's
that
not
that's
for
where
everyone.
that's where Gentle Giant tried, and I will get to these albums eventually in the channel, and I can play some tracks that are, oh, it's really great tracks. It is almost there. There is one,
The album is great, but it's not there in
yeah,
this
it's not there
sense.
in the pop. It's
Uh, but
still,
the album is great.
yeah, it's a great Gentle Giant album, but it's not exactly the pop feeling that could sell records. At that point, it was very hard in the end of the 70s with the punk movement and so on. But I want to, before we finish this episode, I want to play one other track from this album. It's a very short one. It has the title of the album, Acquired the Taste. By the way, I love the title of this album. They made the first album, so now they're acquiring the taste. Yeah, I think we'll do more of that.
The
And this,
title of the history of the band.
yeah, he's or the band. Yeah, we acquired the taste, and it's a very very strange track, very quirky track, which shows. We just said that the house, the street, the room is very accessible and straightforward. Acquiring the taste is the contrary. It will sound very strange for most ears, but for a Gentle Giant fan, it's a delight. And it's nice because I'll put the video also from the official Gentle Giant channel, and they have the cover of the album, which I really like. I don't know if you like, but I like the cover. We can talk a bit about the cover too. So let me share here. Here's the cover. Put us back here again because we need to do this all the time. Put this down. Oops, doing things wrong here. 1 minute. Okay. The
It's
problem with
what
the mouse.
seems.
Yeah, let's go.
It it is what seems to be.
What? How? What? Okay, I don't understand what you're talking about. So that's the cover, Gentle Giant. I like the Gentle Giant with these ladders, these fonts that I like very much. And I like the big mouth with the teeth and acquiring the taste, and you have a little saliva here. I really like this cover.
In a S.
I don't think it is an S.
I think it
No,
is.
no, I don't think so. I don't think so. Okay, okay. But this cover shows something about Gentle Giant that they have a lot of humor. It's a band with a lot of humor. And this track is quirky and has a lot of humor. Let's go for it. And that's it. Very short song, very dissonant.
But it sounds like a Baroque music. The
Yeah, yeah,
interaction,
yeah,
the
yeah.
contrapoints, the melodies, the
Yeah,
bass,
I agree. I agree. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like Bach.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. But there is something about the chords that sounds very strange.
Yeah, it's contemporary
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
silence. So there is a lot of dissonance. But
And it's basically carry minor on the keyboards. Here is something you can help me. You have these that sounds like a bass, but I think it's a keyboard, yeah.
I think all the sounds came from a keyboard,
Yeah,
even
I
the
do think
bass.
so. I do think so.
The bass for sure. There is just one sound that I couldn't put my finger. It's a, it
Yeah,
is a
yeah.
right expression.
I also think it's all keyboards and it's only carry minor playing. And there's something that we can finish this episode talking a bit about Gentle Giant live. So if you're watching us, want to know more about Gentle Giant, you need to see the videos they have in YouTube live. They played more than 30 instruments in the stage, and they would reconstruct the tracks. They never play the tracks as they are in the original recordings. They would do completely different things. And one thing they would do is take one whole album called Octopus.
I put
And
a song from Octopus, no?
no, not here. You put it in our musical sessions, you put already, but that's
Right.
the second time we play Gentle Giant here. And so they took the tracks from Octopus and make a combination of them in something they call excerpts from Octopus. And this song, Acquiring the Taste, usually appears in the excerpts from Octopus in between, but played by acoustic guitars by Gary Green and Ray Schumann playing acoustic guitars.
I don't realize that. And this is
Yeah.
the album that I like more from Gentle
Octopus.
Giant.
Oh
Yes.
yeah,
It's,
it's a great
I,
album.
I, okay.
Okay, I have a hard time saying what album I like more. And also I thought that as they play more than 30 instruments on the stage, sometimes there is another bass being played. It's a black bass and it's not a precision.
Oh,
But who
yes.
plays this bass is Derek Schumann.
I
Because
want to
there
see
are
that.
points, yeah, there are points where Ray Schumann is playing either acoustic guitar or violin or trumpet, and then he cannot play the bass, yeah. And then Derek Schumann takes the bass and play the bass lines while Ray Schumann is playing other instruments. Then Derek Schumann gets this black bass, and possibly is because he's not exactly he plays bass for sure, but he's not a professional bass player as his brother. So he possibly can't handle the precision, perhaps.
Yeah, it's
The
not
precision is hard, yeah.
is a base to for a really basis. No, it's but for some, yes, because it has a large neck.
Yeah, the
Uh,
separation between the strings is large, yeah.
yeah, it's like this. This is a music main, but the precision is like a music main. Music main is larger, and here precision is
Okay.
a little more. And jazz bass, this evolution of the precision is short. You can see that,
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I see.
and the space, the distance between the strings. and the fretboard is not to like
Yeah.
this. In jazz bass is very very flat, but in precision, no, uh, generally it's like that. This
Oh, okay.
uh,
Okay. So
so
you have to have a stronger touch to get the sound.
yes, you have to. It's a technique
Is a
because
technique,
so
yeah.
it's
And here is something. When Derek Schumann plays the bass, if you see in a live video, you see that the way he plays looks like someone who plays acoustic guitar. How he uses the fingers. So it looks like, oh, he's not exactly a bass player. He's making the bass lines, but an acoustic guitar player. So it means that possibly he used this bass because it is easier to obtain the sounds
this
than
makes
using the
sense.
precision.
Yes,
Yeah,
this makes sense.
yeah.
These
And
are
because Ray Schumann never touched this, I never saw one video of the Ray Schumann touching this black bass. He always plays the precision.
yeah, it's a great precision bassist.
Yeah.
He and James Jameson
Oh yeah,
from
yeah, not yeah, yeah.
was
Complete
a
different style, complete different
studio
style.
musician from Motown, this
Motown. Yeah.
Motown.
We need to play Motown in this channel. I think we never did that. We have many things to do. But okay, I think we talked a lot. Let's finish this episode now. So I hope you enjoyed. Give us a thumbs up. I hope you're having fun. I think we show in our faces and enthusiasm how fun it is to do it. And that's the point of all that. Okay, bye bye. That was another episode of We MNF.
Bye.